Brodes Media.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome on into Sports Talk with Brodes. How about that? Before we talk about it all, if you're new to the channel, smash the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up button as well. We break down Sixers, Phillies, Flyers, Eagles every day here. It's fantastic. I love you all. We have so much fun. We also have fun on Twitter at Brodes81. That's my personal account. You can follow me there as well. And then lastly, if you're looking to go to NBA games, NHL games, NFL games, you can utilize the code BRODES at SeatGeek's checkout page for $20 off, which is basically eliminating all fees. It is a no-brainer. Get your ass to a game today. Today. Don't miss out. With that being said, enjoy the show. What is going on, everyone? Welcome on into Sports Talk with Brodes. Very proud of this basketball team. The way that they came together as a crew, everybody stepped up and played their role, but did it at such a great, efficient level. When Joel Embiid is off with the rest day, when Tobias Harris, we're informed 40 minutes before the action that he's unavailable and he's with safety protocols, and then Danny Green, who's been struggling to this point and actually found some rhythm, knocking down 4 or 5 shots from the field, when he leaves with that hamstring injury, you really are in a tough spot. And oh, by the way, CJ McCollum, Damian Lillard, they're dogs, okay? They know how to score some buckets. And the fact that while there were times where Portland made some pushes and they stayed involved and they stayed in striking distance, every time the Sixers had an answer, and it was somebody else who stepped up in a specific time frame. That was really awesome, right? So Seth Curry, when you talk about fourth quarter, making some big buckets, and just the fact that his attitude is magnificent. I love everything about his approach, and I learned a lot about him during the Ben Simmons drama early in training camp when reporters were asking every player, how do you feel about Ben Simmons? What are your thoughts on Ben Simmons? There was something about the professionalism, but sort of the I don't give a fuck attitude that Seth Curry had that translates into his style and the way that he plays with fire on the floor. I just love the way that he's creating separation for himself. And there's a general manager, real quickly, just to say this, right? There's a general manager that actually traded Seth Curry for Josh Richardson. And I just want to point that out. When there are fans out there that say, who in their right mind would trade for Ben Simmons after they saw what everybody else saw, this entire universe saw, Ben Simmons in playoff mode? Who would ever trade for him? Well, I try to tell you all the time that there are bad decisions made throughout sports. General managers make piss-poor decisions all the time. I'm laying another one out just as an example right in front of your face right now, which is Josh Richardson for Seth Curry. Things do happen. There are people that do make mistakes, and I'm not telling you that trading for Ben Simmons would be a mistake, but I'm just saying, like, people just forget as if that is ever a thing. When you dissect teams and if they win or lose, when they make a deal with another team in the league, sometimes it does go wrong, and there are some people out there who are not good at their job who are general managers. Just amazing, though, that he's doing what he's doing. Niang, come on, man. The way that he played that third quarter was ridiculous. At one point, he's bullying through to the hoop and getting there to the rim. Played some small ball 5. He finished with 21, 5, and 5. MVP. MVP. And once again, referencing Seth Curry here, after the game, I heard Seth Curry and Niang at the media press conference and all, and there's something to be said about this team, and we're only 7 games into the season or so I'm not getting absolutely ridiculous with this, but as we study the journey of an 82-game season, you could tell when things are clicking, there's molding happening, and I think these type of wins, and even against the Atlanta Hawks, which I did not get an opportunity yet to really break down some of that and what happened, but it was an emotional game. I know it's not full-on revenge, and you don't get a huge smile on your face for winning a regular season game against Trae Young, but it was a team that broke your heart in Game 7 on that same very floor. You can't just pretend. We're human beings here. There is natural emotions that are going to be pouring out, and they did such an excellent job. They had that 15-0 run in the first quarter. The team was just playing balance throughout, which also relates to what we saw once the ball was tipped in this effort. Maxey defending, Matisse Thybulle defending as well. Matisse Thybulle has been on an absolute tear, just grabbing steals, grabbing blocks, nonstop, can't be stopped. I just really wish there was more to this offensive game, and something triggered my mind when I heard Allah on the broadcast say, if only he could do this consistently, because he ended up taking a three. He missed, and I like the fact that he's willing to do it, but I just feel that we've been saying now, well, if he can consistently knock down the jumper, if he can consistently hit the three, if he gets more swag in that department where he feels more confident letting the ball fly off of his fingertips, I would have expected by now, not that he's a full finished product, but knowing that that was such an emphasis and something that needs to be worked on heavily, that by now, we're entering a little bit of time now in the NBA for Matisse Thybulle. I don't want to take away from his impact because it's strong, but when games do matter and when games do intensify, which this is the same exact theory I was shoving in everyone's face last year throughout the regular season because of Ben, and nobody wanted to hear it, so don't just throw this in the trash and say, stop worrying, Brodes, you're overanalyzing things. No, there is definitely going to be an issue if Matisse Thybulle is limited in any playoff series because of that deficiency and that flaw in his game. But in terms of just studying his defense and how absolutely absurd it is, yeah, there's no doubt about it. You did have the Hawks grab some offensive rebounds and give them second opportunities, which also related to what you saw here. Now, keep in mind, you did not have Joel Embiid, you did not have Tobias Harris. Those are two individuals that will absolutely look at the glass and bring in some heavy rebounds for you. But Drummond, 14, 15, and 7, 5 steals, 1 block. Come on now. And the fact that he's able to pass the basketball the way that he does, sometimes I'm in awe. I'm not even going to lie. Sometimes, and we knew, this is nothing shocking that that's a part of his game that is very smooth. But when you get to study it when you're watching him play on your team every single night, when he has limited run in certain areas throughout, it's like, damn, he's, what? What, this big man with that type of touch, with that type of finesse, with that type of vision? And on top of that, of course, the execution is major as well. But I loved it. And and I know I'm kind of still on that Sixers beating the Hawks game, but they had, in the first half, 21 fast break points, 16 points off of turnovers. We know how important, one, turning the other team over is, and two, limiting turnovers. Against Portland, they only had 11 turnovers as a team, and they passed the basketball beautifully. 34 assists, bang, getting the ball moving. When Doc Rivers earlier in the season was talking about their issues on the half-court set and executing, not scoring points, this was after that Brooklyn Nets game. You think about the game, it became very slow. And when it became slow, they weren't able to get into their action. And he even mentioned that this team, that's what we do. We don't have a closer. We don't have a perimeter guy. We don't have a go-get-me-a-bucket guy. So we have to run our action. We got to get moving. We need the ball to be consistently bang, bang, bang. Find swinging to Niang, swinging to Furkan. Back-to-back threes. Let's just talk about that fourth quarter real quick. Back-to-back threes. Huge. Massive. And I don't want to leave out the guys, Maxey, Shake Milton. Shake Milton had 10 off the bench. Maxey, passing the rock, getting in double figures. I think we're taking for granted how impressive that drive that he has to the rack, where he just is in the air floating. I really do mention the floating and the way that he looks in midair when he does it all the time, because it's beautiful. It's literally poetry. He just does it consistently. And he's also making an impact on the defensive side of the floor as well. Some of this is Portland back-to-back, just having a little bit of a tough time incorporating a new head coach, incorporating a new system. Rocco had 0 points, which I thought was hysterical. So overrated. This fan base fell in love with him and made it seem like and I get it, the process, he came from nothing into something, and he earned himself a nice little role in the NBA. That first team all defense was very flawed, may I add. He was the most overrated one-on-one defender in the entire league. The analytical world, the deflections made it seem like he was way better than he was one-on-one, but he could get, I swear to God, give me a one-on-one effort with Rocco, and I'm breaking him down and probably hitting a mid-range Jimmy in his eye as I'm fading to my left. But I digress. It does seem like this team is kind of really rallying together and becoming a team that's playing for one another. I thought this was massive. This is massive for the morale, and morale matters right now, considering where we are and the circumstances that we have been putting up with. And you hear all the media members are finally able to see Ben Simmons. They get to the practice facility in Camden, and he's riding the bike. He's just riding the bike. He did workouts before. Now, Anthony Gargano of 97.5 The Fanatic talked about today, and I know that he's definitely connected with the 76ers and people involved, and he made it seem like he knew something without saying he knew something, and maybe I'm just reading the tone the wrong way, but you could tell when there's a message trying to be out there but not out there at the same time. He's like, don't be surprised when the 76ers go on this West Coast trip if Ben Simmons puts the jersey on and actually plays a bit, and even though it's a long shot to think about Damian Lillard, maybe there's something to trade in general. And with Ben Simmons playing away from the Wells Fargo Center, West Coast trip, gives teams opportunities to look at him and Daryl Morey a chance to, maybe pick up the phone and have some dialogue with others around the league. Like I said, maybe I'm reading a little bit into it. It did seem, hey, we have something here, but I'm being told, nod, nod, wink, wink. So we'll see if it does mean anything. And we also need to keep our eyes out on how long Tobias Harris is going to be out with the safety protocols. Danny Green, we're going to have to definitely keep our eyeballs set on that hamstring. And I would imagine that knowing he's an older player, you don't want to put yourself in an uncomfortable spot by having a older mid-30 player coming back into action too soon. So, they're deep. They're deep. They have enough to hold their own, I believe, if that is the case. But knowing his rougher start to the season, and he's going to be an impactful player on this team, whether you think that or not, due to the early stages of what we've seen. It's just funny to think about the tone right now and where it is today compared to where it was 2 games into the season, where there were some that were just ready to, run everybody out of town just because. I'm trying to see. I thought I did see a Doc Rivers quote that was talking about Danny Green and the injury, so I just want to see if that does pop up on my feed, but no, just going back, see 4 hours. Doc Rivers said today that Ben has been shooting more. Okay. Doc Rivers said to Michael Rubin after the game, you only won with $105 million not on the floor tonight. That's funny. There was some comedy out there for sure, as I alluded to the MVP chance, the Damian Lillard thing, where he even referenced after the game that Philadelphia definitely showed him love, huh? How about that? And just in case he's thinking about something, if you know what I mean, huh? Another nod, wink, wink, huh? You know what I'm talking about? So, all jokes aside, Niang, Seth, Drummond, Furkan, Matisse, you kind of look around the board and everyone had their moment and everyone had their time to step up and be a force and say, hey, now it's my turn. Hey, this is what I'm called to do tonight. Bang. There was a lot of energy in there. I was proud of the building. Not that I thought it would be a bad building, but other than when Trae Young returned and the Hawks returned, I don't think there's been an atmosphere that fully blew me away yet. The Pistons one was quiet. There just seems to be that off feel with this team over the last week or so until now, where there's some energy. Because I think what's happening is they're naturally finding personality. This team is blossoming when you look at the Tyrese Maxey, when you look at Shake Milton coming back from injury. They're having their identity fill out more and more as they're running up and down the floor together. So we're going to go to the Anytime Hotline right now. But before we do, let me tell you about my friends over at DraftKings. Football fans, who's ready to score some free bets? Now you can when you bet on any NFL game this week with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. New customers who bet just $1 on either team to score can win $100 in free bets. When a team scores, you score. DraftKings Sportsbook customers can also get skin in the game with new same-game parlays. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code Brodes. Bet just $1 on either team to score and win $100 in free bets. and win $100 in free bets. If they score, you score with promo code Brodes this week at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older. Pennsylvania only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. In partnership with Meadows Racetrack and Casino. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. And I really don't want to downplay that effort on Saturday night during the Halloween weekend as well. Like, I want that to be noticed. That was a nice win. It really was. And I don't want to hear that it doesn't matter and it doesn't make up for the lost cause that was last season that a lot of us Sixers fans are not going to forget. You think about Kawhi Leonard and that shot in Toronto, Game 7, the possessions before, the quadruple doink. No Sixers fan forgets where they were when that happened. Ben Simmons and that pass to Matisse Thybulle when he's standing underneath the basket, you will not forget where you were and what you were doing and what was racing through your head, if anything, because it is very difficult to fully comprehend that. For them to go back to that spot on that same court and win with that attitude. It's great. Defending, great. Knocking down shots, great. Spacing, there. Forming together, molding together, awesome. You know, third quarter in that Hawks game, I'm watching Seth get bucket after bucket. Tobias Harris with an insanely hard and difficult layup right around the rim, up and under. And then here's Seth, boom. Right after that, major three. Taking advantage of the flaws of the other team and taking advantage of their turnovers, getting up and down the floor with the fast pace. They're able to play with some nice pace right now. They're running. They're running the floor. Matisse Thybulle getting in, creating turnovers, which leads to some fast break opportunities, getting an easy bucket. The ball was moving like poetry tonight, for sure. And the fact that they're that willing where, no, it's you. No, it's you. Let's keep passing that rock. The way that they did it and they kept the ball in their hands, too, so damn important. Because I'm watching early in the game where Tyrese Maxey gets the ball off of a turnover and he's dribbling and the ball hits off of his knee and goes out of bounds, but he gives maximum effort and full dives to try and save it. And afterwards, he's banging the floor because he's upset with himself and he's pissed off. And I somewhat smiled and thought just about the competitive nature of this professional athlete. And I was laughing too because I do that. I do the same exact thing 5-on-5 LA Fitness where nobody in their damn mind is watching me, right? It's not as if there's fans all around, 20,000, because they love Brodes and the fact that he's busting up his chin and bleeding in his mouth because he's taking elbows, playing against some dude who just worked 9 to 5 in a finance job in a cubicle. Not that there's anything wrong with that. If you make that money, then all goes to hell here. You make that cash. There's nothing wrong with that. But he does that, and the fact that we love it so much, huge smile on my face, like that's the energy right there. That's the little things. That's the Philadelphia work ethic that we fall in love with. And you can tell that it bothers him so much, and that's why these dudes are just wired differently, the way that they think the damn game. But I'm loving it with Maxey. You end up looking at the efficiency of passing the ball, making their shots, and the lack of turnovers with only turning it over 11 times. That's crazy solid without, one, your legitimate number one point guard, which is Ben Simmons. You can make the argument all you want. He's not a point guard. He is a point guard. Regardless, he is your facilitator. He's not here. Joel Embiid, he's also your top guy, and you run offense through him. He's not there. Tobias Harris, who was your Robin last year, he's not there. Danny Green, a veteran that you do rely on to make corner threes and help space the floor, he's not there. Shake Milton, Tyrese Maxey, Seth Curry with the rock in his hands. Furkan. I think the best way to label Furkan, he started this game, but when you do put the ball in his hands, which we've seen to this point, it's not something I want to rely on consistently, but it's something you can do if you need to. That is the best way to describe it. I don't want to rely on this heavily, legitimately, but when you need a stopgap scenario, he's doing a serviceable job at the stopgap scenario. 1,000%. So that's kind of, because everyone always asks me, Brodes, do you believe in Furkan being the backup point guard? No, not really. Not actually, like, yes, I'm buying into it. No. If you have to in regular season games, Play some two-man game with him and Andre. See if you can get some lobs going. And speaking of lobs, it wasn't technically a lob. It was a floater. When Trae Young hit the first shot of the night in the Wells Fargo Center Saturday night, and it was a floater, here we go again. The typical meme, the typical GIF. And I think everybody thought that too, right? Whoever was in the stands, whoever was tuning in on TV. Oh, no. Defending the pick and roll is very difficult, especially with the player who has a skill set of Trae Young. Losing Ben Simmons is also major there. Enter some of the young kids. Some of it is players missing shots, right? Dame missed some shots because Dame missed some shots. Not everything is elite D all the time. Sometimes you're facing an opponent, timing is key, and they're in a funk. I don't want to take away from Maxey either. I don't want to take away from some of this young defense either, though, at the same time. But all right, let's head on over to the Anytime Hotline. I want to hear from you out there after this game. Here we go.
I really feel that this Ben Simmons thing is a blessing in disguise. I feel like the Sixers are playing with a better identity, a lot more confidence of that attitude. Like, you know what, Ben? We don't need you, and we're going to step up and play better, just like the grinding Philly fans we are. Curry, Maxey, Shake, I mean, they're just playing just more confident, and offensively, they're just looking like they're having a lot more fun. The spacing's there. Driving lanes, people are just, taking 2-point shots in the middle of the lane that Ben couldn't do. So, still early, nice win. Still need to get a closer, but I'm liking what I'm seeing so far.
Yeah, I think that's perfectly said, and that was something that I really did actually look at. Not that there's many, okay? It's definitely not an ideal scenario to be in when you're dealing with this Ben Simmons nonsense. But there are, when you look out the pros and the cons, there's way more cons than pros. But on the pro side, you could say that there's camaraderie that's built. There's brotherhood that's built. Hey, he's not bought in, but we're bought in. Us against him kind of thing. Where would they open up their arms and they're professionals and they have to put it behind them because that's the nature of the beast? Yeah, I think that there's enough professionalism in there and enough veteran leadership in there for it to be just business. Let's just keep it what it is. We may not be friends. We may not be boys. We might not love how you went about this and how you were throwing all of us underneath their bus. Teammates, head coach, city, fans, all of it. But business is business. I want to go win a title. We're better with you than without you. And I'm sure here goes the comment section. Oh, Brodes, I wouldn't say so. We don't know. We don't know long term. I knew from the jump, though, that this team could still win NBA regular season games without Ben Simmons. They could. They would still be just fine. And you're starting to see that play out. There's going to be ups, there's going to be downs. There's going to be a 3-game, 4-game skid where they look lost, where they struggle in the half-court set, where maybe they lack separation, creating their own shots, things look a tad ugly. It's absolutely, like, it's going to happen. It's just reality of the scenario here. It's no doubt about it, inevitable that will happen. Still, though, the NBA regular season is what it is. We've seen it a billion times. It's a different beast. You can get away with so much more in these games, and you have enough talent on your roster to take down a lot of these teams. But I am fascinated to see how they play at home on Wednesday night against the Chicago Bulls and the new look that they have. There's some energy there. There's some good vibes there. Come into this atmosphere. And this win and last win, putting 2 wins together the way that they did and the way that it looked against the opponent that it was, really does kind of change the perspective and the local feel right now on what's happening in a good way. And I think we just have to give them time to develop, give them time to grow. And I know that might sound brutal considering we've been hearing the same storylines with the Eagles coaching. This is different, though, because you have a lot of the same pieces and you have Doc Rivers here, who's been around the block for quite some time, but incorporating such a young point guard to try and settle things down and run your offense, there's something to be said. It's sort of like going through growing pains with a rookie quarterback, with a younger quarterback in the league that like this is a different beast. You have to settle in and really fundamentally digest the basics at the professional level at running an offense. That is not easy. And Maxi's doing a hell of a job to this point, but there's a lot more to go. And there's a lot more talented point guards to play. And each guy brings up their own unique skill sets that will be definitely hard to defend. And it brings up new ways of adversity that you're going to have to handle and play differently based off of which guy it is, But it's not an easy position to defend. It's not an easy position to set up in certain sets either. Make the crisp, smart first pass. Dump it into the post perfectly where Joel Embiid can get the rock and go to work, whether he wants to turn around and jab step, whether he wants to just face up and hit a mid-range J without the jab step, or he goes Hakeem on your ass, whichever one it is. What's next?
Oh man, bro, I enjoyed the game. It was I just enjoyed the chemistry and electricity that they played with. I mean, George Niang giving us 21, Andre Drummond 14 points, 15 rebounds, 7 assists and 5 steals. We ain't asking you to be Embiid, but apply your pressure, and I like this aggression helping us out get the win. But definitely was a good balanced game. And it just shows me growth through everything we're going through. No Embiid, no Tobias, Danny Green going down, and just blocking out the noise of the Ben Simmons situation. I'm just happy this team can mesh together like this.
I think you labeled it perfectly when you said chemistry. That's what it was. There was an electric way of the way that they played. They just played together as a unit. They were bought in defensively. I mentioned Tyrese Maxey and how upset visibly he was. That type of energy does really bring out that in everybody else. Drummond, all those steals. Matisse Thybulle. And they do that anyway. That's part of their playing style. But you feed off of one another. There's like, yes, let's go! Let's go! You're on the bench. You're getting hype. I feel like I should be on the bench. And I always said this. I could easily go to Duke. I could easily go to UNC and specifically be hype man. Specifically be the dude that's on the bench and the guy that's in practice that's taking charges and making you earn every single penny. Making you earn every step you want on me. You're going to have to give maximum effort to do it. You might do it. And I'd get my ass beat in practice and I'd probably get torched a couple times. But I'm making sure that you have to leave it all out there to do it. But that was my impression of what it would be like. I even got the headband on right now. Insanity is what some would say to label it. Blocking out the noise. That was also referenced in the phone call that was left. Not easy to do, especially in this market. It's died down as of late. And before I heard Anthony Gargano say what he said today on his show, I think I felt differently about it, where you just kept getting nothing from Doc Rivers. No new information. And it seemed they put out whoever reported it, mentioned that the Sixers were no longer going to be fining Ben Simmons because he was going to get the mental help that he needed to get, and that was going to be their focus. And he was casually working out with trainers, working out with coaches, away from the team and all. And that quieted the noise. And then after a week or so of nothing, except for the same type of tone from Doc, I thought, all right, they got us exactly where they wanted us. To relax a bit, to see the team just play. News on Ben is the same, but he's actually taking steps in the proper direction. We'll keep it there. We'll just let it marinate in that window. But I was starting to catch on. All right. Now, if they go on this West Coast trip and it isn't what it was being alluded to, and he did say 100% it was going to happen. It's just a thought that possibly it is. I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth, but I'm just saying hearing that did shift where I am, because if it is true and it does happen, well then clearly there is something to be said about where they are with Ben Simmons, and it has progressed a bit. But it seems stuck. It seems stagnant, something that I guess we're definitely keeping the binoculars on to see if it gets any better. I did tell myself, and I'm not just going to lie, if I didn't feel this way, then I would totally admit it. But before the game, I thought they're going to win this. They're going to win this. One of those ones, everyone counts them out, nobody believes, and it makes sense. No, I wouldn't put my money on it, but my gut did tell me they're going to win. They did it for Brodes. It's lovely. Let's take one more.
Well, how do you like that? No Embiid? No Tobias Harris, no problem with with Seth Curry and gorgeous Niang leading the way. Gorgeous Niang of all people. And by the way, this is a big shot to Damian Lillard. This was the Blazers team that you wanted to stick by.
Well, I have to say this, right? Everyone hates Kevin Durant for leaving and going to the Golden State Warriors. Everyone hates the super teams. Everybody hates LeBron. And then when you talk about Damian Lillard, for example, he's getting mocked and made fun of for being loyal to the city that he has really fallen in love with, and he's so dedicated that he wants to win a championship. And if somebody did that here in this city, they would be beloved and one of the most favored guys of all time. So it is somewhat hypocritical to have that reaction. And no, we're 7 games into the season or so. It's a very short time. I'm not telling you that I feel the Portland Trail Blazers are going to be some sensational team and go on this journey and be strong, but I do have to admit that mocking him, I think, is going too far based off of he's being a pro's pro, he's being a professional. I just don't think that it's fair to say this is what you saw tonight in Game 7 of a regular season game, because now the Portland Trail Blazers are 3-4, the Sixers are 5-2. Yeah, 7 games in. Good at math. Thank you very much. This is who they are? I don't know. I got no hate on what Damian Lillard's done. I do in terms of I want him here, and I'm upset that he's not here. Take away my emotion, take away my love for the 76ers, and just analyze it as someone who's studying sports. This is what we want from athletes, and we're finally getting it, and they were mocking them a little bit. It's just fascinating to me, that's all. But I want to thank everybody so much for hanging out with me today. It's nice to have this type of excitement right now for the 76ers. They put together a couple of nice wins. I don't want to devalue the Atlanta Hawks one. I do kind of sense and feel that there are some that look at that in not as much of a positive way as maybe I feel it should be noticed. It was a big emotional win, and that can't just not be referenced and noticed the way that it is, but it's one game at a time, and you have to turn the page quickly because there is a lot of basketball to be played and some back-to-backs that are heading our way, and you don't want to put too much love on one regular season game. I don't want to discredit it either because there's a lot of hostility involved in who they are at the moment. Wait, hold on a second. Before we head out of here, let me tell you about my friends over at BetQL. Do you want to get an advantage over your sportsbook? You need to download BetQL, the only app you'll need to make smart bets. Their best bet computer model scans over 350,000 unique bets per year to give you the best bet recommendation for every game. Their model covers everything: spreads, over-unders, player props. Their sharp data so you can see who the pros are backing, line movement so you can jump on betting opportunities in real time. Head to the App Store or Google Play Store right now to download BetQL. Enter the discount code Brodes at payment checkout for 25% off any of their subscription offerings. Thank you guys so much for listening, and I will see you next time.